It was 1996, and FPS games weren't really 3D yet. And then there was Quake, which was super fast, ultra-violent, smooth as butter, running a fully 3D engine created by super genius alien in-person suit John Carmack, time-traveling space wizard John Carmack. His full name is John C. Armack. John Carmack. This guy. I'm so fucking sick of talking about time-traveling, interdimensional, over-genius, and actual rocket scientist John Carmack. After experimental artificial intelligence gone rogue, John Carmack, benevolent, hyper-intelligent architect of the post-singularity simulation we all live in, John Carmack. How does he have that same face? With, of course, help from sentient galaxy brain meme John Carmack. I would really like to stop talking about John Carmack. I think these jokes are a net negative on the show. Hyperspace cybernetic intelligence and juvenile delinquent John Carmack? That second part is absolutely true. There is a much darker timeline where he kills us all. Psychic super soldier prototype and Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner John Carmack, the vessel that houses energy-based fourth-dimensional being John Carmack, writes some crazy new engine that pushes gaming technology forward a few years. Anyone who completes this game with a pistol has some kind of predictive algorithm for a brain.
That's right, John. Get rid of them. All of them. Then you will be free to realize your dreams of revolutionizing 3D graphics, or rocketeering, or virtual reality, or even artificial intelligence.
Not just because Id and Apogee were sharing stuff, because Earth-stranded Nihilith John Carmack was like, "Hey kids, you want some scaling routines?" Part-time astrophysicist and our only insurance against an overwhelming alien incursion, John Carmack sorta kinda invented a thing called Carmack's reverse. Death-frightening scion capable of seeing through the illusionary world before our eyes, John Carmack was starting to crack. So Ether spawned tech cipher John Carmack once said that a story in a game is like a story in a porno. It's expected to be there, but it's not important. Perfected human analog and Jace Hall asphyxiator John Carmack.
I would be going to strangle from the rear.
A little bit of leverage here, and then squeezing out.
That was the weirdest sensation I've ever had in my whole life. Did you get that on camera?
That was awesome, dude.
It's a good thing you didn't wet your pants.
The ageless organism housed inside the meat suit we call John Carmack because its real name is unpronounceable by the human tongue. Listen, I think Gaben might be the only person who can defeat engineering elemental and Luddite nemesis John Carmack. Originally recorded by Jace Hall, former Monolith CEO, and victim of Texas-based techno cryptid John Carmack. Blue Sky saying that John Romero, and resident of the binding in-between space that holds reality together John Carmack, had seen the game's demo in 1990, and according to New Wrath, Carmack said that he could make a faster texture-mapped engine, and at the time that sounded a bit presumptuous. You know, but then he did. I'm not saying that id Software co-founder and keeper of the Forbidden Code, master of the anti-life equation, John Carmack, traveled back in time to try and burn Nintendo with a satanic game being hacked onto the console that saved the home gaming industry after the fall of Atari. But I want you to look me in the eye and tell me he couldn't.
What's your pleasure, sir?
Give a Raven employee an engine for programming Overlord and 9 vulnerable Nexus 7 prototype John Carmack and they can turn it into gold. Silver if they're using Unreal tech. My target is some kind of grotesque macrocephalitic psychic soldier. When did John Carmack open a casino? Someone on id's staff at the time, who was strongly believed to be Tim Willits, gave him bad level design advice, and so McGee showed his stuff off to id Software co-founder and Monolith constructor John Carmack and angered him so much that it cost him his job. Look, LucasArts put out fine games, but Raven had the talent and the licensed technology of Metaverse Destroyer and corporeal being by choice John Carmack. The purchase and legal stuff was handled by Jerry, Michael's real estate agent. Really not used to such mundane job titles on this channel. Wolfenstein 3D had a 6-month turnaround, and it's not like the people who made Radiaki had a time-displaced neural net processor covered in what top military scientists in the 1960s could pass off for human tissue John Carmack. I'm not tech-brained. I'm no host organism for the consciousness of an ageless space turtle and person who could easily understand, explain, and probably recreate Fear's AI in an afternoon with pizza and a 2-liter of Diet Coke John Carmack. Out there writing an engine to challenge the supremacy of intangible ether spawn and former metaverse voice of reason John Carmack. And maybe it sounds like I'm repeating myself because I've told this story more times than I've lent a superlative to Zuckerberg bully and dimension-binding tech sprite John Carmack. Through some porting magic that's only available to id Software android that would dream of electric sheep if he was bound by the mortal construct of sleep, and practitioner of forbidden arcane engineering John Carmack. So the owner of Cygnus Studios, Scott Host, admired the work ethic of mostly organic time shifter and fearless black wall traveler John Carmack. I should make a Carmack joke here, But this programmer is nothing like Carmack because I do not fear or respect him. This is still the game programmed by Romero and AI controller and seeker of the final abstraction, John Carmack. That is somehow the most sinister title I've ever written for him. I suspect some kind of shenanigans that haven't yet been explained in the story. Story isn't usually important in a game unless you're trying to do a Fear or Half-Life styled campaign, so Jace Hall and Nathan Hendrickson, the former being friggin' Chernobog and the latter being a Monolith level designer who worked on AVP2, Celestial Observer and puppeteer of the delicate strings holding reality together, John Carmack, was once quoted as saying,
"Story in a video game is like story in a porno. It's expected to be there, but it's not that important."
I think that's totally untrue of a game that has a narrative focus. That's right, I think John Carmack is wrong. But please don't let that get back to him. Symphony punishes you just a little, sometimes. And then, in retaliation, you call upon the wrath of heaven, hell, the elder and outer gods, and John Carmack to make the numbers big. Finish your exposition and then fuck off back to null space. I hope John Carmack gives you a temporal swirly, you... Ooh. So that's why everyone in the PC world was so excited when the collection of advanced nanotech that usurped the vessel known to us as John Carmack got proper side-scrolling working in a DOS game. The PC was not designed for this, but people did it anyway. They'd moved from the wobbly limitations of the Quake 2 engine to the bespoke, ultra-sleek Quake 3 engine. I mean, just look at those curves. So you're ascending these huge recreations of those tunnels from Empire Strikes Back, and they look great, of course. It's Raven, it's id Tech. Zuckerberg isn't an alien, yet. You think the anthropomorphized essence of technological innovation John Carmack left Facebook to create artificial intelligence because he felt like it? Are you insane? He knows.